A victory here as Carthage avenges last year's regional semifinal loss and advances to the regional final for the first time since its state championship in 2020 when it topped Gilmer of all teams at AT&T Stadium. My, how it comes full circle. We have so much reaction to it coming your way here on a Football Friday powered by Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Aaron Hardigan along, Texas high school football analyst of DCTF herself, Ashley Pickle, and our coach, Ken Purcell, with 12 state championship rings. And if you're just joining us here on Football Friday in Bally Sports Southwest, his debut between the two of us. And we're promising, we're ensuring you a few more words here in this post-game show here, Coach. But enjoy having you here. Enjoy having you with us on set.
Well, I said earlier I traded CT Stickle for you two. It's the best trade I ever made.
And what a game you got tonight. Much closer than we anticipated, right?
This game was great for Carthage because they got pushed. They got pushed hard. They haven't been pushed all year. They've been averaging 55 points a game and only giving up 11. So they've not been pushed. We got to the fourth quarter, and they're still, Gilmer's in striking range. And so this was a great game for Carthage to test who they are.
Well, and I think if you're the rest of the state, if you're the rest of 4A Division II watching this game, you're looking a little worried because you're right. We saw them get pushed, and they reacted exactly how you needed them to. Connor Cuff showed his ability to move outside the pocket. The defense showed that they were not going to let go. You have, Carthage making a mistake with the fumble. They get the interception right after it. It's answering to the call when you get tested. That is something we don't have to see out of the Bulldogs often, but they proved to the entire state tonight that they can when they have to. It really was. And when you're talking about Carthage, you're talking about a perennial powerhouse in Texas high school football. I went to college with the new local news anchor out there, Blake Holland, and he was from Carthage, and he would tell me, he's like, man, you are a Bulldog from birth. You come out, you're bleeding red, you're doing this, and that's what showed tonight. Patty was exceptional. And when we talk so much about Montrell Hatton and what a key piece he is to this Carthage team, Coach, I mean, when you've got numbers like this to step up, Noah Patty was a baller tonight. Well, it's funny because Scott Surratt and then the defensive coordinators, they'll be the first to tell you that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to try and run the ball because it looks like they don't really load the box that much. Oh, you've got free room. Well, guess what? It's because that's a linebacking core from another, universe. Those linebackers are unbelievable. And so they almost pull that little optical illusion on you, and then they're sitting back going, that's what we wanted you to do.
Sneaky fighting Surratts out there in Carthage. You wonder who they're going to meet in their first regional final since 2020.
How about Pleasant Grove? Unbelievable. What a game that you're going to want from there.
Yeah, Aubrey meeting Pleasant Grove tonight in that 4A Division II Region II bracket.
And it's Akari Johnson to Victor Shaw on that one. Then in the second, Johnson quarterback, keep it 64 yards to the house, big man. Dude, he's got the jet fuel on there. One juke into the end zone. He goes 23-7 PG up. Then in the second half, Johnson, he's going to break the pocket there, throwing it. Who is it? R.J. Collins. Stand up for the Hawks out there. Pleasant Grove wins it 37-14. And Coach, you want to talk about Beast Texas powerhouses. That's exactly what this matchup is.
Sure. Now you've seen three of them: Gilmer, Pleasant Grove, and Carthage. Oof. And it's going to be a battle to the end.
Sign me up. Listen, and it's worth noting, Carthage defeated Pleasant Grove 31-6. October of last season, you'll remember. They are now 5-0 all-time against Pleasant Grove since 2010, Ashley.
Well, and Pleasant Grove is going to try and do exactly what Gilmer did tonight in forcing them to get into situations that they don't necessarily want to be in. They're going to want Cuff being able to run the ball. Their defense is massive. They had a pretty good test. That Carthage massive offensive line had a pretty good test against the Gilmer defensive line, but let me tell you, those boys from PG are built different. They're huge. They're going to attack the ball, and Cuff's going to have a big test on his hands next week.
I always somehow get him to cry. We get him emotional on the show. It's too easy, and I love you, Coach
He
Gibson.
loves the game. What can you blame him?
He's got the passion in him, and we love to see it. We're looking forward to that matchup.
Let's head back to 2014. It's the 3A Division I championship between Cameron Yo and Mineola. Cameron Yo rolled to the title game with that guy right there, Traylon Smith, and he kept it up in the state championship game. Okay, listen to this. He had 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, would go on to have 5 on the day as they take it down 70 points. So I'm determined to get a laugh out of Coach here. The yeoman doing some yeoman's work. Cut the show.
Bottom vote. Again, the fact he's making his debut between us.
Poor guy.
God bless him, the coach with 12 state championship rings. You'll remember Yo did return to the title stage.
Well, Sarah, you haven't just been braving the elements there in that game. You actually saw one I understand to be a heck of a game earlier against Liberty Hill and Alamo Heights, ending in a crazy fashion. Take us back through that one and what all the fun was going on earlier today.
Yeah, the fun of doubleheaders in playoffs is always exciting. And, of course, here at Memorial Stadium, they hosted two great games.
The whole lot of showables, is looking absolutely fantastic so far. But when I tell you that game next week against Franklin is going to be, it's got to be one of the top games that you have circled out of any classification, because you're looking at these 2 powerhouse programs going at it, totally different styles. It's going to be a lot of fun. You've seen Columbus absolutely be able to put the ball in the air and take it out in the air raid. Then you have the slot T Mafia from Franklin. It is going to be a clash of styles with a clash of unbelievable players that will be so stinking excited. If you're not in a 3A Division I, you need to be now.
1 versus 3, as you mentioned, in 3A Division I next week. It's going down, and we cannot wait for it. You talk about the Fighting Showballs. It's like when I call Lano the Fighting Pickles. We might be getting into that coming up here on a Football Friday. It's powered by Dave Campbell's Texas Football. They couldn't, and they couldn't again tonight. But what is it about these two when they toe up?
I mean, it's fun, and sometimes there's teams that they don't get scared. A lot of teams get scared when they walk off the bus and they see Aledo across their chest. This is a program that doesn't get scared about that, but you have got to give major credit to what Aledo did tonight. And I love how Austin put it they showed the fight, and they showed that even when they get to a tie game, a lot of Aledo squads in the past that haven't been tested as much would not really know what to do in that situation. But you go back to the first 2 weeks of the year with this Aledo squad, they lose their first 2 games, and we're ready to throw dirt on them forever. Like, oh my gosh, Aledo, they're done. It's not the same Aledo team. That showed exactly how it was. It's young kids developing, and that now they know when they get down, it doesn't matter, because they can go off and rattle really tough wins like that, and that means a lot, Coach.
I think she's calling me a prisoner of the moment, which I totally am, and you've known this in working with me for far too long, right?
And how about that, Coach? We were talking about it before we came on camera. Ooh. You're looking at it going, ooh, what a rematch could that be? In District 3 5A Division I, that was the thing that we were wondering, hey, is this Centennial squad finally going to be the one to break that district winning streak? They didn't do it, but we say it all the time, Coach. It's good. It's hard to beat a good team twice. Burleson Centennial is an actual legitimate threat, I feel like.
And Aledo rolled them in the regular, right? So it's like, how do you weigh this at this point in the season?
That you don't have many weak teams in there.
It is, and that was 5A Division I, Region 1.
No turkeys.
No more turkeys. Let's head over to Region 2. We take a look at Mansfield Timberview taking on Frisco Reedy. Again, this is Region 2 of 5A Division I on the opening drive. Timberview quarterback Zurich Humes, he's gonna keep it. Make your way in, big fella. Unbelievable run there, 6-0 Wolves. Still in the first quarter, Timberview's Jarvis Reed now. They have multiple guys that can carry that ball 35 yards. He goes in, and they will convert the 2-point conversion, making it 14-0. Then second quarter, Timberview in the red zone. Cameron Bates keeps it. A short, quick little run for the Wolves there. They go on to defeat Frisco Reedy 28-26.
Wow.
An unbelievably close game there, and
hope you enjoyed it, Wolves. No, I'm kidding. Maybe. I mean, come on. Can we be honest on the show? How do we feel about this one? This could be quite lopsided.
This, to me, feels like what we've been waiting for, of Longview having to check another box to getting to their thing. And honestly, that's not taking much away from Mansfield Timberview. They're a very good, well-coached ball club, and they have the speed to compete with Longview. But I think Longview as a whole, we've said they were the favorite the entire time, Coach. It feels like a destiny feeling at that point.
Mansfield Timberview comes out. Maybe I've provided some bulletin board material.
Well, I was going to say, there's the best part.
I'm hoping I'm wrong.
There's the best part of the playoffs is it, like Coach says, These are all serious contenders, which means just because Longview was our preseason #1 in the Dave Campbell's Texas football rankings, just because they've proved week in and week out to not have many flaws, we're going into the regional final round. You got to get up and get ready to play, and experience is experience. But Coach John Kay will have John King, the other John, that's really good at coaching football, will have his Lobos ready to go.
No, that's going to be a fun one.
Well, and I'll tell you honestly, if it helped with the rain and the weather, if it helped anyone, it's Chapel Hill, because when you've got Demetrius Brisbane, a true dual threat quarterback that absolutely loves to run the football, paired with Ricky Stewart, who is the man he can just hand it off to and watch the Red Sea part. I mean, this is really an impressive win, but you've also got to remember this Tyler Chapel Hill squad, it's a young squad. It was a really, really young squad last year when they made it all the way to the state semifinal, eventually losing to state runner-up Austin LBJ. These are kids that those start to pay dividends right now. When you're playing 14, 15 games a year since you're a freshman and a sophomore, these are the type of games. But again, a big shout out to Lumberton for what they've done, a program that started in 1966 that only has played in 7 playoff games. Getting 2 wins this year has been outstanding what Coach Reyes is doing out there. But there's Region 3. How about we matriculate over to Region 4? We're heading down to the Coastal Bend area. Cal Allen taking on Somerset in Beeville. Cal Allen's Bruce Burnett. He will find his man Luke Medina. He can run and he can catch. Still in the second, Cal Allen, Skylar Rubio around and in. Hand that ball off to the ref, young sir. Later, Bryce Burnett on the quarterback keeper. When I tell you they have an arsenal of running weapons, this proves it right here. 65 yards to the house. And Coach Steve Campbell and his Cal Allen Wildcats will go on to win it 31-17, and you want to talk about tasty, juicy, whatever adjective you want to put there. Bernie taking on Cal Allen. This is fun and another big clash of styles, Coach, because you've got Cal Allen, who traditionally has been run, and Coach Steve Campbell now says, hey, it's not a sin to pass the ball. We can do it every now and then. I know the old ball coach will agree with that, but this Bernie squad can put points on the board. So you look at that Cal Allen defense against the Bernie offense, Coach, I think we're in for a real treat next week.
Well, not only that, the offense that's an option offense that moves the ball well, the problem is how to work against that during workout this week. We can't simulate that offense as well as it's run during the ball game. So, it's that time. You got 13-0 and 13-0, 2 different styles, but that's what the beauty of Texas high school football playoffs this time of year is.
Well, and real fast, Bernie beat Port Lavaca Calhoun 60-0. Oh, that's in a regional semifinal against a Port Lavaca team that had rattled off 7 wins after losing 5 of their first games. That is emphatic win for Bernie.
Those are my kind of Thanksgiving leftovers, Coach. I don't know about you, but sign me up.
Slot T Mafia is exactly what it is, and you're right, Coach, when you say that no one does it better than Liberty Hill. They've proved that, and it's funny because you go back to the beginning of the season and the UIL changed the cut block rule, and we're going, okay, how much is that going to affect? And we saw a lot of teams. It really affected Slot T teams, but Liberty Hill, the well-oiled machine, is back on track, and they have found a way to figure it out, and they look like the team to beat now in Region 4. Obviously, we're going to have a fun game next week, which I know we're fixing to talk about in just a second, but they look like the well-oiled machine. A true test, though, for Alamo Heights, and congratulations to them for so close in that heartbreaker there. That's never how you want to never how you want to lose, but, man, they put up one heck of a fight tonight.
Yeah, what a year. One they should certainly be proud of. Now, we will find out who they're playing next round tomorrow. Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff, and San Antonio Veterans Memorial squaring off at 2 o'clock tomorrow at Hornet Field in Corpus Christi. What do you anticipate in this one?
Well, that one was moved because of weather. It was supposed to be played tonight, but moved because of weather, as we've seen quite a few games in the state be moved. This one's very interesting because Flower Bluff, if you'll remember back to last year, they made their first state semifinal appearance in program history. San Antonio Veterans Memorial is another one of these teams out of the San Antonio area that's trying to break through to that threshold, because because whoever wins this, then they go up against Liberty Hill. We talk so much about Austin teams playing San Antonio teams, and will they ever make it through this? You've got to get through this one first, and then they will have the daunting task of going through a well-operated Liberty Hill team.
Yeah, that was 5A Division II Region 4. If we move to Region 3, we had another big one down in the greater Houston area.
We sure did. One we were looking forward to very much. Let's take you out there to action in Region 3. Fort Bend Marshall taking on the Montgomery Lake Creek. Oh, what are they, man? I can't even remember. The Lions. There we go. First drive, Fort Bend Marshall. Jordan Davis to Andre Feast. He feasted yesterday, and he is feasting today. 7-0 Fort Bend Marshall on top. Into the second, Davis. He's going to toss that one up. Larry Bitton wide open in the end zone, hauling it in 21-0 at this point. Still in the second. Davis under pressure now. That line is nasty for the Lions, but he makes something out of nothing. Jacaden Ferguson now 28-0 in the second half. Davis hands it off to Darian Wortham. In he goes. You noticing a trend here? Well, Fort Bend Marshall would go on to win this one 55-18 in emphatic fashion. And now we hear from the head coach of those Buffs, James Williams. He's head coach James Williams, and coach, this is really a fantastic win because we've talked about the Fort Bend Marshall team being one that they don't typically get tested in district, just where they're at, where they lie. They got tested this year, and it's definitely paying dividends right now. How much does that play into effect?
What do you know about PNG, Ashley?
They want to punch you in the mouth, and that's what makes this one really, really fun because Fort Bend Marshall is fast. I'm talking, we always say Fort Bend Marshall is fast. That's kind of the name of their game, but when I'm telling you, this is one of the fastest defenses that I've ever seen. The way that they fly to the ball is insane. You match that up against a PNG squad that, like I said, they want to punch you in the mouth. They want to get dirty in the trenches. They want to make sure that you know that they're bigger than you, that they're stronger than you. So it'll be a real size and strength matchup against some speed. So it should be insanely fun. If you're anywhere in the Houston area, that's the one to go to. Well, that was Region 3. Now we're going to go up to Region 2. We take you up to the DFW. 5A Division 2, Region 2. South Oak Cliff taking on Midlothian Heritage. We pick up in the third quarter. Jags are up 20-13 when they drop that dime. There, the Bears tie it up. Fourth quarter now still tied. South Oak Cliff on their own 3-yard line. Hand it off to Javon Thomas. And how about 97 yards? The Golden Bear will take it all the way back in. But the Jaguars are spun. Caden Brown, quarterback keeper. In he goes, and up go the hands of the Jaguars. So now 2 minutes left in the game. Game's tied. Golden Bears try it. No good. The 25-yard field goal is missed. After that, the Jaguars fail to score on the possession. It's the Golden Bears' turn. Danny Green hands it off, breaks to the outside, and in he goes, taking it to the 1-yard line. Then a couple plays later, they were able to make their way in, running right up the middle. Those Bears squeak it out again. Final in overtime at 33-27. You want to talk about the cardiac kids? The South Oak Cliff team is...
Mine about stopped there.
It's going to give me high blood pressure, Coach Todd, man.
I already have it, and it's making it worse. No.
Well, and it's funny because we just got done talking about how South Oak Cliff is going to give me high blood pressure. On the other side of that, you go to Todd Rogers and his Argyle squad. And I don't like to give Greg Tepper credit, but man, he hit the nail on the head when he said about Argyle, boring doesn't mean bad. And that's what Todd Rogers wants his squad to be. He doesn't want them getting into those crazy close games where they're having to claw their way out every single week. He wants them to do their game plan, and they do it better than anyone else. The offensive line is outstanding. They have multiple skill positions across, but the defense, you saw it right there. Right when you thought the game was going to get a little bit close, they got the interception, ran it back, put the nail in the coffin. And, Coach, sometimes it's a good thing not to be pulling your hair out on the sideline, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, that's a wonderful thing.
It's nice to keep most of that legs, isn't it? They will face the winner of Canateo, Abilene, Wiley, who play tomorrow.
Yes, another one. A lot of games out in West Texas because of the snow that was coming down New Mexico. They all got moved to tomorrow. So yeah, you can watch that one, and we'll all wait together to see who they play.
2 hours of coverage on High School Scoreboard Live.
Well, and they've got the guy. They've got Case in English. But you're exactly right, Coach, that the goal here is to refocus. And why do they need to do that? Well, they've got another big test coming up next week. Who will they be playing? How about we take you out to the highlights of the other matchup, which was West taking on Malakoff. Malakoff's first offensive play. Mike Jones goes long to Austin Massengill. Thank you. He hauls it in. Tigers go up 7-0. Second quarter now. West looking to respond. It's Zay Minion. He takes it up the middle 10 yards in. Trojans tie it at 7. But Jones answered shortly after. Ensuing drive. Jones keeps it on the option. He's going to cut outside and down the sideline. The Tiger is off to the race. Nothing but green in front of them. They will go on to win that 35-14. And how about, have you seen this before? Does it feel like this is a book we've read before?
So again, I mentioned the back-to-back Grandview titles in 2018-2019. 2019's came over Pottsboro. 2018's came over who, Ashley Pickle?
The Malakoff Tigers. And this is
like a twisted family reunion.
It's like the 700th rendition of Grandview versus Zebra in the regional finals. But this one's interesting because we say every single year, how's it going to look? Well, we got a taste of it in week 2. Grandview takes down Malakoff 21-17 in week 2 of the season this year. And I remember sitting in this same spot in week 2 going, this feels like one of those scenarios where they just have their number. Malakoff can never seem to get over the hump. But again, it's difficult to beat a good team twice. We'll see. I think that Malakoff's defense is really going to have to watch out for Case in English, Coach, and that explosive Grandview offense.
How dare I ask you if Ryan Ebner and company can capture another title, because that's me assuming they get past the state semifinal round where they could meet one of your 2 alma maters. Whose was in action tonight?
How about we go to Region 4 now? It was the Llano Yellow Jackets taking on the Vanderbilt Industrial Cobras.
Where's Pepper's sign?
First quarter, Cobras with the ball down 7. They get it to Martin, and he will go in for the touchdown. Game tied at 14. Llano responds using the end around. He's going to go deep to Jackson Dillard. What an amazing catch. One of 3 unbelievable catches like that on the night. And then it's the do-it-all. Carson Kirkendall gets in for the score. Llano, the Fighting Yellow Jackets, will go on to beat the Industrial Cobras 42-17.
Listen, Region 4 is theirs to lose. Am I right?
I've been saying all year I'm a little biased.
And I am unbiased, and I'm saying that, so I'm with you.
I will say, I think that looking back at when we started making regional picks, when we started talking about what this could end up in the Region 4 final, everyone's money was on Edna taking on Llano. Now, they have a common opponent because Edna did play Vanderbilt Industrial earlier in the year. They beat them 49-0. So this is an Edna squad that is no one to look over. They're real big up in the trenches, and you've got to watch out for that. Briggs Green has done an exceptional job at quarterback for Llano, but that offensive line is going to have their big test cut out for them next week.
This is going to be fun. Buckle. I feel bad. I feel bad bringing up the alma maters because salute to Vega. Vega, Texas.
Sorry, Coach.
I know.
You can be part of the jacket hive, though, if you want to.
Last week, Tepper sat in that very chair and held an I Love Llano sign. You could make one yourself and join the club.
We're heading back to just last year, the Canadian Wildcats. We're back in the state championship setting, taking on Franklin, actually 2020. Late in the 4th, Lions trailing. They go in their bag of tricks, and boom goes the dynamite. Seth Spiller connects with Braden Smith. Spiller just can't believe it. Look how excited that guy was. But back come the Wildcats. It's Josh Colwell with seconds left, going deep. Reagan Cochran, the Wildcats, beat Franklin's prevent defense right there to take the lead 35-14. We were in the building for that one, and it was an absolute blast back and forth because honestly, the entire game was like that. It wasn't just like the little bitty highlight at the end there.
And Franklin certainly avenged that loss the following year as the reigning 3A Division II state champion from last year.
Well, what I'm telling you is Canadian better not get caught looking at the possibility of playing in a state semifinal like they are, because this Wall Hawks team is very dangerous. High flying, can really move the football, and there's some big boys too. This Wall team, I know our Mallory Hartley at Dave Campbell's Texas Football is very big on the Hawks, but Coach, it seems like you really got, if you're Coach Ketting saying, hey, do not look forward because we have a really tough test on our plate.
Coach Ketting is one of the best.
He is.
He takes his team deep.
Was it the hat that gave it away?
You bet.
Or was it me just throwing up the buffs every chance I get here on the show? Didn't have a reason tonight. I did it anyway. Let's go to Region 2 in 3A Division 2, my friends. And as we noted in the break, Holiday Bells was ringing, Pick.
That we knew that was going to be an exceptional matchup. To see how closely that finished out. Bells has been an outstanding team. We honestly, I think I had Bells picked to win that one because I thought we might get to see the rematch of the team that dropped 40 in a regional semifinal and the Gunner Tigers right there. But a shout out to Holiday for what they did tonight. Truly, truly an impressive win. But Holiday Gunner, that's looking incredibly tasty. But Coach, again, we kind of talked about it earlier. Some teams feel like they are destined to make it to the AT&T Stadium. Gunner is a machine, my guy.
For Ashley Pickle, biggest takeaways.
Man, look how close both of these games were. First off, Harmony, an exceptional job outscoring West Rusk. They're a team that can absolutely put up numbers, but Dangerfield and Newton is the big one here for me. I feel like Newton is kind of starting to pull away here in Region 3, a very hard-hitting team, but that defense absolutely showed tonight that they can stop a high-flying, powerful offense because Dangerfield can put some points on the board, Coach.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. So that was Region 3. Let's move down one more region, round it out here with Region 4. Taft taking on the Pirates of Poth. Look at that exceptional run through. Pirates on offense. Zane Raby with the quarterback keeper busting through the defense. Rips it through 40 yards. Poth strikes first, and it is just too much from Poth. High stepping into the end zone, giving the camera a look. Matthew Bunn getting it done in the end zone. Poth goes on to defeat Taft 55-13.
Bullocks, my peeps down there.
There you go.
Come on.
Your people. Well, look, your people had some fun times to go with, too, because they're taking on a very, maybe under the radar Tidehaven squad here, but I think tonight, Coach, we talk a whole lot about that Poth defense and what they can do. It's hard-hitting football down there. But I think the offense had a chance tonight to show that, hey, our defense is going to be great. We know that, but we don't just have to rely on them. We can put points on the board, too.
We need to. I pulled up my thesaurus here.
Synonyms for matriculate.
Meander. Should we meander?
Okay.
Maybe a simple move.
That sounds
I don't
like
know.
lagging. I think of meandering like a lackadaisical type of thing. Like we're going.
Yes,
We're amped up. It's playoffs.
But Coach also knows I try to get way too creative here. It's Football Friday powered by Dave Campbell's Texas Football. How's that? And we hope you don't go anywhere.
Well, and I mean, what Evan Bullock is doing with that offense is exceptional. They can just outscore anyone. But we've seen Anna get into some of these games where their defense has to step up. I think what is just so amazing about what they did in this game against Salina has championship pedigree. I mean, more than most teams in the entire state. They're used to being in this round. They're used to making far runs in Region 1. And we wondered, was this Anna team going to be able to do it? And they were. And I know that earlier in the season we were talking a lot about, is this the best Anna program we've ever seen? And some viewers were saying, no, back in the day. Guys, come on. This has got to be the best Anna team that this program has ever seen.
So I said arguably, but you are all in on this. I mean, and I'm with you. I mean, they're putting together the best season in program history, and now beating the reigning 4A Division II state champ. And I mean, can it get any juicier?
No, that's what you want. I mean, this is the test. We've seen them be tested week after week after week with a good district, you know, and moving on into playing teams like Salina who have that championship pedigree. But it's not only about that pedigree, it's about China Spring having that pedigree, but also having the recent history and showing what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, the quarterback matchup between Evan Bullock and Cash McCollum, if you were into high-flying offenses, there you go, friends. Dub the Coyote! Send it! Send Dub the Coyote! Wichita Falls beating Brownwood. Not just beating them, 41-19. Coach,
my mind is blown.
That is outstanding. outstanding what they are doing from a program that at the beginning of the season we would have looked at and said, okay, they're a playoff team. Okay, they're dropping down a classification. They can make some noise. But I mean, my goodness, you want to talk about making noise. Well, and Aaron, not to mention that their next matchup, they're against Decatur, who, I mean, pitched a shutout. So high-flying by the Eagles.
And with Steve Huff at the helm, having moved over this offseason.
Exactly, a coach that has plenty of championship pedigree. We say pedigree a lot on this show, but that's because it's true. This will be very interesting because these two teams played earlier in the season. Decatur taking out a very narrow win. You know, Coach Grant Freeman, dubbed the Coyote, they're on a revenge tour here. They want to take them down, and you never know.
And they're not that far apart geographically.
I was just going to say, that's like crosstown rivalry, basically, when you're in that neck of the woods.
So it ought to be a heck of a game.
Packed house. Get it circled. And again, we'll be talking about this again tomorrow night on High School Scoreboard Live.
3A Division I, Region 1, Whitesboro taking on Paradise. We're going to start off here, Whitesboro with the ball. Mac Harper, he's going to fake it. He fakes everybody, turns on the burners, and looks at the last defender as he falls. Bearcats extend the lead to 14. Then Whitesboro looking to take control. Harper not faking it this time, firing into the end zone. Connects with Brett Donaldson for the touchdown pass. And how about that? On to the regional finals for the second straight season. 42-14 win over Paradise. A statement win there, Aaron.
Yeah, and listen, we were following that Brock Bushland game on the other side of the coin here tonight. Brock pulling it out. They looked a little scary there for a while.
That's another cardiac kids reference there, because they barely squeaked that one out.
And we'll look into that. But when you look at this, you know, just this Region 1, whose is it to lose? Like, when you looked at it overall, or at least entering the regional semifinal round, who did you peg to kind of be like, this is they're the favorite?
I'm going to be honest, when we were making our regional picks, this was one I had to come back to, because there are so many contenders that play in so many different forms and fashion. But I think I would be lying if I said Whitesboro wasn't up there at the top of the region. What they can do on the offensive side of the ball with the high flying, you saw the quarterback's ability there to not only be able to take it off, and he's got some legs to him. I mean, this kid is fast, a really good kid in track, and then also be able to air it out. He's got the receivers he needs to do it. So I think that Whitesboro is definitely up there. But this region, coach, it really felt a lot more open to me when I looked at it for the first time. Well, and Aaron, too, with Brock, if you go back and remember, they dropped 4 games this season. We had to push them out of the rankings. I saw them live against Wichita Falls Hershey, and I'm going, no, guys, I promise this is a good team. And they're going 0-4, Pickle, 0-4.
Right, but you and I had discussed that they were quality losses, and I hate calling them that, but they were, because they scheduled a tough non-district slate. I will hand that to Billy Mathis, especially coming off what they did last year. So we had to consider that as well, but I think a lot of people didn't account for that, and they were ready to write them off early on in the year.
Right. When you play Pleasant Grove, when you win or lose in overtime to Wichita Falls Hershey, a 4A program that's way bigger than you, they did lose to Gunner. That was their one lower classification loss, but we've talked about Gunner.
Yeah. But it's Gunner.
It truly is. Brock, you just never know. And we thought at this point, okay, look, they figured it out. They blew through district, they blew through the playoffs, and then they go up against a really good Bushland team, and they almost lose it. So you look at the matchup against Whitesboro, one that previously earlier this year ended in a very controversial call as to if the stop on Whitesboro actually happened or not. You know that they're looking for revenge. I am so excited for this game. I really, genuinely, truly am. And I think that you're exactly right that the style clashes here is so much fun. But also, a quick thing to go back to here. Franklin beat Hitchcock. My darling Hitchcock. That team is so incredibly young. We're talking about a veteran Franklin squad here. This 3A Region 3A Division I Region 3 might be shifting powers in the coming future, but an unbelievable season by Hitchcock. But Franklin, my goodness, this is the matchup circle. Well, and you go back to what they did the week beforehand, Cisco and Stratford. It was a war on weather that just seems to never end here, and we talked about that. Does that play out in Cisco's favor? And they've shown Hunter Long, I love that we pointed him out, because he is him. Like, he is the guy. And he has been running that offense at the quarterback spot for 4 years now. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He is so much fun to watch, and we get to watch him for another week. But we don't know who they're going to be playing yet.
Poly Sonora tomorrow, 7 o'clock, prime time in San Angelo, Pick.
This is a very, very good matchup. I still personally think that Holly is the team to beat in this region. Obviously, Cisco making a very good case for that as well. But this Holly team has everything that they need. They have the experience from going to the state championship game last year. You'll remember they lost to eventual state champion Shiner, but they're healthy this year, and that's going to be the big key for them. Last year, they had lost Will Scott, one of their best linebackers, and so they've got the keys that they need, Coach. But at this point in small school ball, a big portion of it is too making sure that your guys are well rested and staying healthy. We shall. On to Region 3 of 2A Division 1 we go. And who else other than the Timpson Bears taking on Centerville? It's Bears with the ball. And you might have heard this name before, Terry Bussey. Yeah, he's a walking highlight reel, if you can't tell. 15 yards for the first score of the game. Timpson with the ball again. Bussey on a quarterback draw. Almost makes it into the goal line, but the next play, guess what? The man says, don't worry, I didn't do it the first time, I can do it the second time. Timpson goes on to win it 41-14. No, I think that you would be lying to yourself if you said they weren't the clear-cut favorite there. And then obviously, this is another one of those, don't get caught looking ahead though, because they're looking at the state semifinal, which would be up against Shiner or Refugio down there in Region 4. But this Timpson team truly is something special, because we talk all about Terry Bussey, like you said. I mean, one of the absolute undisputed best players in the state at any classification. But you go, okay, does he have the supporting cast around him? If he was to go down, what happens? No, they've got Vosky Howard. They've got a defense that goes. I mean, that whole entire, they're all cousins too. And so it's been crazy to watch them have so much success as a family and what Coach Thurwanger is doing down there. I've seen this team play in person the first week of the year, and they're looking just as good then as they are now. And this is one of the most fun debates that we've had at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Who wins this matchup? Because we did get to see it as a district matchup this year. We haven't been able to see that the past couple of years. Refugio got the nod in the first one, and Coach Jason Herring obviously very excited right there, but they get the nod. Can they do it again, though? This is Dalton Brooks, the final of the Brooks brothers' senior year. Coach, you know he does not plan on going home without a state championship ring, but Refugio, on the other side of it, a terrifying defense, and they've got the guys to contest.
And they didn't show all of that.
It's another one where you wish that this was a state championship game, because you're like, neither of these two teams deserve to go home after the regional final.
Right. And this is how it always plays out in the brackets. Yep. Am I right? So, and listen, the winner could very well be the favorite.
I worry about the game in the trenches for the Woodlands. I think the Woodlands has the skill players to get it done. I think that they can compete with Duncanville in that front, but I think that this defensive line for Duncanville is nasty, man. I mean, Coach Samples, you know he's smiling, looking at the guys in the trenches doing what they're doing.
I'd love to see him get another shot.
Everyone does. I mean, he's the godfather. He's the godfather for a reason, and everyone wants to see him get that shot to do it. But this is a big test that they can't overlook. But yeah, I do worry for the Woodlands about the game in the trenches, because Duncanville is on a next level.
It'd be fifth time's a charm for Sam. Come on, bring it home. No. Uh-oh.
But let me say, too, man, you're right. Jackson Arnold is absolutely the best quarterback in the state of Texas. I don't think anyone's here to debate that. But Jake Wilson from Trophy Club Byron Nelson is a force to be reckoned with. This was an offense that was scoring the most out of any 6A program until they played Southlake, and they played them pretty competitively in that District 4 right there in 6A. But this is a matchup of quarterback expertise to another level. Very, very excited. And here's my favorite word, pointsy. Very pointsy.
Pointsy, pedigree. Also, I wrote down here tonight, did Greg Tepper jump on the momentum bandwagon? Because he doesn't believe in momentum. I believe I heard those words uttered on tonight's broadcast, tonight's telecast.
Can confirm. Can confirm. The momentum was there.
How fun was this sitting between us, Coach?
Well, it was good.
He's like, it's too much momentum. Shut it off.
It was fun. It was fun once and never again.
Tennis match.
That'll do it. That's our final Football Friday of the season. Don't forget, we'll be here tomorrow night and the rest of the way on the road to the state championships at AT&T Stadium. We'll see you tomorrow night on High School Scoreboard Live at 11.